Dun, 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 dun. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So today is going to be a little bit of a laid-back video. I have a car here. You've probably seen it before. It's my friend Dan's car, but I figured while both cars are together, I would try to do a pretty much close-to-close comparison, at least inside the cars and overview, specifically this one because you guys have not seen much of this. So I wanted to kind of run through the specs of this car and what differentiates it between, you know, their entry-level car and the Super Series car. Biggest differences right off the bat between these two cars right here. This is McLaren's Sport Series, okay? And now when I say Sport Series, they call this their entry level, which is hilarious because this car is no way an entry level supercar. This thing blows away 95% of the things on the road for the price point and where it stands. This is the Super Series. So you have the Sport Series, then you have the Super Series, and then you have the Ultimate Series, which is your P1, your P1 GTR, your F1, etc. So this is the middle ground car. This is the entry level car. And I will tell you right away, this car keeps up with this car, no problem. Track days with the active aero and everything on this car and a little bit bumping horsepower and the suspension, this car is going to win. But shorter back roads, this car is a little quicker. Now, the biggest differentiating differences is the active aero and the suspension. This car has no sway bars. It is a fully hydraulic suspension, which is why this car is acclaimed to be what it is. It rides so well and adjusts and adapts so well to road conditions. This car has a much more conventional suspension system, which there's nothing wrong with that. It just they're two different animals, and they ride. This one rides a little firmer. You know, put that in normal mode. It's like a Bentley Rolls Royce. It is that comfortable. But again, two different things. The active aero doesn't do much, you know, back roads with this car. So this car keeps up just fine with this car. But outside of that, same engine, same drivetrain. This has kind of like the Gen 2, I would say, update to this drivetrain. So, you know, the transmission shifts a little better. The engine sounds a little better with the tuning and everything. So this car drives, I would say, in terms of drivetrain, a lot easier than this car. And there's a noticeable difference between these two cars and the programming. So again, entry level, not entry level, but this car will spank some serious ass. So let's head around here to the back of the car, because obviously you see the differences between the front of the car, etc. But let's talk about the back here. So clear differences. The biggest thing with the back of this car is obviously there's no active aero, which does make a big difference. Street-wise, you know, you're pretty good. It doesn't really, it's not that big of a deal, but it is cool when you have the wing that kind of has DRS, moves up and down, and the big air brake is always cool to see. But the rear end of this car, I mean, you guys can see the obvious differences, but this to me, it doesn't photograph well. The rear of the 570 is a very, how do I say it, tiny looking in pictures and in videos, but it really, you know, the stance and the presence of the car fits well with the 12C. Now, I personally think this car would look awesome with a wing, either the big Vorsteiner wing that comes out here and comes up, or I believe there's another wing that can come into the panels in here, and it just is a little wing. It comes up here, and then it kind of just sits around the top. I think that looks really good. I'm trying to convince Dan to get that, but we'll see. Outside of that, you can't really see much of the engine. That's about all you get. This is your oil cap and kind of where you change the oil and everything and whatnot, but there's the engine in there, where you can see looks very similar to there because they're the same engine. Now, I personally think that the GT, the 570 GT, which this is not, this is a 570S, has a continuing roof line all the way back, similar to my car, how it goes like this. And I think it looks really, really good. There's a lot of people who don't like it, and until you see it in person, don't judge it, because I didn't like it either. Saw it in person, I actually prefer it over this, you know, kind of cut out body shape. The other cool thing that I think that my car has, his doesn't, which is, again, not a big deal, but one wiper blade. Just one big wiper blade, standard 2 wiper blades. It is really cool when this car, you know, you're driving in the rain and you just got this big one kind of Le Mans wiper blade style going through. This is a little more, you know, standard, I guess, in the industry, but obviously the front end difference is, need I say no more. I wish, this is what I think the 12C, this front end looks really good, and the car has gotten actually better, in my opinion, over time and years. That being said, if you could have the front of this car over the 650, yes, the front of this car on here, and leave the side profile and the rear of this car, this thing would look so, so good. That being said, they still look good. So let's go get in the car. First thing, there's a button here, right? Instead of a swipe, there's a button right here. You can see it. No swipe. And the other thing is the doors go more straight up on this car. So they go straight up. They still go out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. They still go out a little bit, but they definitely go more upwards. Whereas the 12C and the previous, you know, 650S and the 675, they kind of go out and up. But the first thing you'll notice, the carbon tub, instead of it going straight like this, it comes down. So when you go to stick your foot in, like so, you can get in the car easier. He's got soft closed doors, that's a nice touch. So, you are in a 570S. Now he has the upgraded stereo system. Easiest way to tell, that guy right there. The upgraded Bowers and Wilkins, but I like what he did with the red in here. There's not too much red, right? It's not overkill, just some accents. I love this single stripe on the seat, nothing crazy, and the little door card inserts. You're still just like the 12C, you're still comfortable. There's plenty of room in here, lots of space, big side bolsters here to set your arm down. My Tag Heuer matches the car really well, actually. Yeah, it's very comfortable in here. I like it. Now, I will say that on my car, you guys will see in some of my previous videos, when you're sitting in here, you have a center console that comes straight down like this. There's no gap in here like so. Where I know what they were going for with this car, they wanted this car to be a little more usable, which is fine, but I like that center console. I love that big floating kind of center console that just goes right down through there. To me, it kind of feels more special, if that makes sense. And I prefer it. I'm not a big fan of, you know, the buttons and the layout that they have. It's a little too standard maybe for me, but you know, still the same powertrain here and your handling here. This car though, the nice thing about the 570 is you have a screen there, right? I don't have that. But when you go into track mode, you get the P1 gauge cluster. So you get the P1 left and right gauge cluster, and then over here is cool, you get an aerial view of the car, and you get the tire temperatures and a bunch of other things, oil temp and everything. It's really cool. And the other last thing that I love about the interior of this car over mine is the paddles, right? I can get these on my car, but I have to get a new steering wheel from McLaren, and it's just not worth it. And the satin carbon is a really nice touch. Again, it might look a little glossy for you guys, but the satin carbon it doesn't stand out, but it's still visibly there. So, you know, again, some differences that you guys may have not seen, you know, or may not have known of. you know, because you guys may or may not have been able to get into these cars or see them. So I kind of wanted to show you the immediate differences right away. There's a lot of people, and it's just because they don't know, that think that these two cars are the exact same cars, when in reality there's a big difference between them. And maybe it's because they're both white, but you know, they don't know. But it's cool either way. And there's a lot of people that just don't even know what McLaren is. They've never heard of the race team, and they think it's some sort of Lamborghini. So it's cool to be in a car that they don't know. But I wanted to take the time and just, you know, take 5-10 minutes here and just show you the immediate differences and kind of how the 570 is geared to be a little bit more of a usable supercar. And it is. I mean, you can jump in this car and go a lot easier than you can in my car. It's still possible in my car. It's one of the easier supercars to do that in the 12C, but the 570 is definitely geared to be like, hey, you want this to be your daily driver car, go for it. And it really fits the bill well between that lower side sill, the way that they kind of programmed the 3.8 liter in the transmission. In normal mode, it drives just is so nice. So, you know, I wanted to take the time to do that. Again, two different cars, two different classifications. Just wanted to show that to you guys. Soft closed doors, really nice. Really nice feature. You think I should get those on my car? McLaren Philly can take care of that and retrofit the soft closed doors for me. Small price, but they are nice not having to slam the doors. Who wants to take it for a drive? I've got to say, right off the bat, the driving of this is definitely, in terms of transmission, is better. It's the same transmission, it's just adjusted and they've fine-tuned it, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's a lot more crisp. There's a little less lag when you're leaving first gear, so when you're at a stop and you're just accelerating, it's nothing crazy. The transmission in the 2012 12C is phenomenal. Just they've improved on it so much that it's a noticeable difference, at least for me, who's someone who's just come from a 12C. I drove it yesterday into this today. It's a big difference, and I like it. Sounds a little more, little bit of a higher pitch to it, just a little bit of a higher pitch, but nothing, you know, nothing crazy with it. Still sounds the same. You still have that McLaren V8, you know. Hear the little bit of turbo spool, still sounds good. These massive paddles though, man, do I want these in my car. Holy crap, just clicking, you're not clicking these little buttons on the back of the steering wheel. This is really nice to have these massive paddles, and just when you're looking through, you know, you're looking out the windshield, through the windshield, and your peripheral vision, you can see the big P1, I'm in track mode, so you can see the P1 cluster, you can see the big paddles kind of just without directly looking at them. It's really cool. It's a noticeable difference. Now, I will say that this cockpit isn't as race car-y as I mentioned earlier. The cockpit in this is a little more day-to-day, you know, usability, but you still know what you're in. You definitely still know what you are in, for sure. Right now, I am in normal handling and track powertrain, and it's pretty comfortable. I think if I had this car, I would pretty much always drive it on track powertrain, just because of the dash and the display. I really like that layout. I think my favorite part, like I said, is definitely on the right hand side of the cluster is literally an aerial view of the car, and it has your tire temperatures, your PSI, your oil warnings, your temperature, your coolant temp warnings, and all that. And it's a really cool display to have, and I personally, that's kind of how I would like to see this every single day. tell you what. I'm liking this drivetrain upgrade a little more than I think I was going to like it. Now, the turbos don't surge on like the 12C does. The 12C power like punches you in the chest. I mean, it goes and then just keeps on pulling. This is a little more laid back. It's not as in your face, but you can still kind of, it slowly pushes you back. Instead of just somebody punching you in the chest and just slamming you, this thing kind of, it's like someone gradually pushing you into the back of the seat. So again, totally different. I mean, they feel like totally different cars, but you still know you're in a McLaren. It's weird. It's hard for me to explain, but it's the precision in the car. Just driving it is very precise, and the subtle changes that they've made, and it just boggles my mind that they consider this an entry-level car. There's no way in hell that I would ever consider this an entry-level car. I mean, it's a joke in a good way. Like I mean, the 570S's now you can get for 185, you know, a year old. Like, sign me up. Let's see what she can do. Oh, it's quick. It is quick. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh. Definitely more nimble on the back roads. Definitely in a tighter space. This thing is quick. I would say it's just as fast, probably faster back roads. Just the traditional suspension and how nimble this car is. Holy shit. Oh man. Ooh. Carbon ceramics, good as usual. Take this turn. Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was contemplating, you know, hoping the 650S's would fall down in price enough to just jump up into that, but I don't know. I think a 570 might be just a damn good buy after the 12C. I mean, let me know what you guys think, but Jesus. Oh, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the 12C is slow, but this just had a little bit more of a nimble go-kart in the back roads. I mean, the 12C on the highway, on like a racetrack, still taking that, but the way this thing just kind of reacted, like so quickly. And the transmission, I can't get over how better I would say better, but how the improvements they made on the shifting and everything, just it boggles my mind. Well done, McLaren, well done. The drivability of this car is so good. I didn't know it'd be this good. Now I understand what all the ranting and raving about is with this thing. Oh man. I think the biggest thing, there's still aspects of the Super Series that I would miss. The active aero is a selling point for me, and I think that's a selling point for a lot of people. And that suspension in the Super Series is just, it's amazing. So, I mean, there's going to be some trade-offs, but this car is so good. Like I said, for the money that they are, this is going to be a tough decision. I'm not thinking about this right now, but I'm always contemplating what's the next car, what is it going to be. And I mean, geez. It's like I'm laughing hard. I have a 12C I can go play it, but it's just, I'm telling you guys, it's a more nimble car. It's weird. I mean, I get it, but I don't. Anyways, guys, again, I didn't want this to be a crazy in-depth video. Just wanted to get in the car, give you some impressions. little bit of differences. I hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, give me a thumbs up and click that red subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.